Hello there, and welcome to Lycan Services. How can I be of assistance today? You'd like to report a werewolf sighting? Okay, let me just pull up our warning program. Now, are you a first-hand witness of this werewolf? Or are you perhaps reporting this sighting for someone else who isn't able to? Maybe a friend who was unfortunately injured by the werewolf or unable to report for some other reason? You are the first-hand witness? Okay. Now, where did you see this alleged werewolf? Okay. And what street is that park on? Okay. And do you happen to know the zip code or town name? Okay, great. And when was this werewolf sighting? So within the last couple days? Okay. And was the moon full on that evening? As far as you know? Okay. Now, when you say as far as you know, are you unsure because it was a daytime sighting, or was this perhaps an evening sighting with a lot of clouds, so you couldn't quite tell if it was a full moon? Oh, okay. And was that the first, second, or third day of the full moon? Yes, we always ask just because, for example, if it's the first day of the full moon, then we'll know that there are 2 more potential days that this particular werewolf could be turning into a werewolf. So it is kind of important information for us to know and to relay to our werewolf hunters. Okay, thank you. What was that? How do we relay this information to our werewolf hunters? We have a group app known as the Wolf app, and all the werewolf hunters who sign up with us get access to that app, and then they will receive alerts on any werewolves in their vicinity. So all the information that I'm getting from you now will be sent to that app so they can see what they're dealing with as far as what kind of werewolf it is and where it was last seen, how many nights of transformation it has left, things like that, so that they can be prepared to confront the particular werewolf. Okay, so I do have a couple of sensitive questions, but they do have to be asked. At the time that you saw this werewolf, were you under the influence of any hallucinogenic substances? We always ask because we have had a few instances of werewolf sightings, and our werewolf hunters get all ready to go down there and hunt a werewolf, and it turns out it was just the neighbor's dog or something, and the werewolf hunter gets there and this friendly little beagle comes out, so we like to make sure that there's no hallucinogenic substances that are turning beagles into werewolves in people's minds. No? Okay, great. And do you have a family history? Was there anyone in your family that was prone to episodes of hallucinating, or perhaps someone who had a very overactive imagination that could turn simple neighborhood dogs into werewolves in their mind? Not as far as you know? Okay. So, it does sound like this was a real werewolf sighting. So now we're going to get some of the specifics from you so we can convey those to our werewolf hunters, okay? So, what point of transformation was the werewolf at? Because if it was human, we can't necessarily assume it was a werewolf. The full moon can make even the most human of beings go a little nuts at times, so just because someone is acting like a werewolf does not mean they actually are a werewolf. So we don't investigate those as quickly just because 9 times out of 10 they are actually human, and so we generally wait for the actual furry werewolf sighting before we send the hunters off that way. You saw it fully transformed? Okay. And did you see the entire transformation process from human to werewolf, or was it partially transformed when you arrived? You saw the whole process? Okay. And can you describe the transformation process? Yeah, different kinds of werewolves have slightly different transformation processes. So if we can get a description of the transformation, then we'll kind of be able to let our werewolf hunters know what they're dealing with. Some werewolf types are easier to take down than others, so it's always good to let them know exactly what they're hunting before they head out on the hunt. Okay. And what stage was that at? Okay. And how long did that last? Okay. And what would you say the decibel level of that was? Yeah, just kind of a, rough estimation of how loud it was. Okay. And was that before or after the fur? Okay. And how long did the full transformation process take from human to furry werewolf? Okay. And how big was it when it was fully transformed? Okay, and was that on 2 legs or was it down on all 4s? Okay. That is a height estimation? Okay, great. Now, did you ever see it stand up on 2 legs at any point? You did, okay. And what kind of height estimation would you say when it was fully extended? Okay. And now, what would you say as far as a body type? If you could guess what the werewolf weighed once it was transformed, and was it kind of a scrawny werewolf, or was it a muscular build that might be a little more difficult for our werewolf hunters to take down? Okay. And what direction did the werewolf run off once it was fully transformed? Okay. And what would you say its speed was? Was it just kind of sauntering along, or was it really moving? again, this will help us kind of determine what sort of werewolf it is, so our hunters know what to expect. Looked like it was on a mission? Okay. Now, did you happen to get a good look at the werewolf when it was still in human form? Yeah, that's pretty natural that you didn't. Generally, when a werewolf is in its human form, you don't really suspect it of being a werewolf, so you don't really pay much attention. It's just another person in the park. Though it is odd that a person would be out in the park that late. If you don't mind my asking, what exactly were you doing in the park at that hour? Oh, okay, well, I'm sorry I asked. But getting back to the werewolf, just describe it as best you can, whatever you did happen to notice about it. Could you estimate a height? Okay. And perhaps, can you guess its age? Okay. And how about its body type? Or did it have any identifying marks, such as tattoos or maybe some scars that would make it easy to locate in human form? Okay. And what type of clothes was it wearing? Of course, I realize it didn't take its clothes with it once it transformed, but when it returns to human form, it will certainly put on some more clothing, and generally a person has a certain style that they maintain, so if we kind of have an idea of how this person dresses in human form, then we might be able to kind of watch for that to know who we're looking for. So, okay. And about what length? Okay. And what type of shoes? Okay. Now, is the park someplace that you frequent? Judging by what you said you were doing there, I would say yes. It is. Okay, then, would you have any interest in putting up an additional bounty for the capture or killing of this particular werewolf? Yes, we do allow citizens to put up an additional bounty on a werewolf in their area. Of course, we always put one up ourselves so that our werewolf hunters can get paid when they take down a werewolf, but we do allow citizens to put up an additional bounty if they want to entice a few more hunters after it. Obviously, the more money a werewolf is worth, the more enticing it's going to be for hunters. No, it's not necessary. It's just something that we allow people to do. Every werewolf will be reported and put on the app and will eventually be claimed by a hunter. It's just that some of them, obviously, they'll claim first, usually either the ones that are closest to them or the ones that are worth the most. But yes, every werewolf will be reported and hunted down eventually, okay? So not at the present time, you're not interested in putting up an extra bounty. Okay, no problem. Okay, so I'm sending that to the app now, and all the werewolf hunters all over the world will be getting an alert about it so that they know that there's a werewolf somewhere in the vicinity that you described. And anyone who is within a 50-mile radius will be getting a special alert letting them know that it's close. But again, it will be available to every werewolf hunter in the world. A lot of werewolf hunters are rovers and don't really have a permanent address. They just go all around different countries hunting werewolves, and they pay their way like that, so they kind of get to combine business with pleasure, getting to travel and basically getting paid to travel with a little bit of werewolf hunting on the side. So that will go out. They'll all get their alerts, and a few of them will come and hunt down the werewolf so that you can sleep easy at night. Well, it doesn't sound like you get a lot of sleep at night, I guess, but you'll be able to rest easy during the day and go walking in the park at night. So thank you for choosing Lycan Services, and we hope that the werewolf that's troubling your neighborhood will be taken care of very shortly. Have a lovely rest of your day.